Welcome to Preneurship Diaries. Today we have with us Mr. Umeysh Ramalingachar. He is the chapter co-director at Startup Grind Bangalore. So Startup Grind is the largest independent startup community, actively educating, inspiring and connecting more than 2 million entrepreneurs in over 600 chapters. They nurture startup ecosystems in more than 125 countries through events, media, and partnerships with organizations like Google for Startups. So, Umesh has been a strategic advisor, a partner for many of the startups, where he mentors, advises, he helps in raising funds, and he is into strategic partnerships with many of the startups with helping them with marketing outreach and brand connects. So, Umesh, thank you so much for agreeing to be on my show and making time amidst your many projects. Thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor to be, on your podcast. Thank you for making time and giving me the opportunity to kind of, interview me. So it's feels great to be here.
Well, it's my pleasure. You don't have to thank me. All right. So before we start, I
Mm.
want to say to the listeners that Umesh here has the tag of a human magnet, a power networker who has like amazing number of followers on LinkedIn, and he has connections and networks across the globe. Isn't that right, Umesh?
I don't know if I should feel take credit for it, but of course, yeah, I'm a power networker, and I've kind of been passionately networking and connecting with people, and I've kind of built a kind of network which is kind of just spread across not just in India but across the globe. I can say that.
That's wonderful. And I would like to add on that, E is very approachable. I say this because when I first met Umesh in a networking event, at a Your Story networking event, well, he was very keen on, listening to what I had to say and what I was doing there. And there was a rapport, a connection which was built over a year or so, and I'm just so amazed by the beauty of this connection because it's so very not transactional, it's so very genuine and very interesting. So I want to know, Umesh, like, how do you do it? Is it an innate quality which you have, or is it something which you have mastered over the years, I know, to be a people's person? And I would also like to ask you, does technology and social media make it easier for you to network?
So yeah, I mean, it's now because of pandemic, it's all virtual, it's all online, and I don't have much of a choice, so I end up kind of networking, connecting with people online. Pretty active in some of the social media platforms, but much before that, I've been in the startup ecosystem for over 12, 13 years, and I used to make it a point to kind of religiously attend every startup event, networking event, and over the years I've built. So I think just a little bit of a background. I've been a very shy natured, kind of a very sober person back in the earlier days of my career, where hardly interacting or probably having that kind of being aggressive that sales had, right. Once I kind of got into sales, I think that's where that entire the attitude, the approach, the perspective itself completely changed. As a sales guy, you have to be shameless. A lot of people will say no. You'll have to keep following up. You have to be persistent. You have to kind of keep going back at them and all that. Obviously, they'll say no on your face multiple times, but you should not take it personally and all those kind of things. And the other thing which I've learned is never take no for an answer. And even if you have to kind of they kind of treat you like a tissue paper, don't take it personally. Don't take it to your heart. Just take it to the kidney and piss it off. So that is another approach. So probably that is another.
Wow.
Um,
All right.
so otherwise, it's very tough to survive in a cutthroat world like this. I mean, especially when you're dealing with all the big honchos, all the big guys, the CXO level kind of people, decision makers, and all that. They'll cut you off. But you have to kind of be patient, persistent, follow up, and kind of go after them and kind of build a rapport. And basically, building a rapport, basically even networking. I think it is an art because you can't
Mm,
do the same with a young entrepreneur, with a CXO level kind of a person, with a women entrepreneur who's got so much of connections. They might have different approaches. I'm sure you would have come across this. They'll say, "Oh, this person is very arrogant, very shrewd. They don't like people. They have only 2 minutes for you." So you'll have to calculate all of that. Like 2 minutes. How would you want to use it? What is going to be your opening? The initial first 10 seconds. What is the impression that you'll make on all those kind of things? So it's over a period of time I've kind of learned it,
right.
and all by myself, and experimented, and kind of have my own kind of a knowledge base, which is kind of been built and kind of fine tune, and it's kind of reached a thing. So immediately when I'm in a situation where I'm meeting somebody like of course I know your story is Shraddha very well, but if I'm meeting her for the first time, you would obviously want to wear that hat, right? I mean, as an entrepreneur,
Yes.
what are all the things? And if you're meeting somebody at a very big level who's like the senior vice president of Wipro and all that, he wouldn't have met you. He wouldn't know me. So again, how would you pick up the conversation? It's very different for online and offline. So again, coming back, I've attended a lot of events. NASCOM Product Conclave, your Thai events, and any incubator, anything which is related to startups. I used to be there without fail, and that is where it's kind of gotten me that kind of network or the connections and the people that I've met over the years.
Right, right. I mean, that's amazing, and it's wonderful the way you do it. So I want to ask you, as technology and social media also helped you. I mean, as it complemented with the way you network in a
Oh, of
physical
course.
way.
Of course, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I still remember this. There's this ex-colleague of mine. This is during my corporate days and all that. On Facebook, and I was very new to Facebook, and I didn't even have a clue, and I was like, I was not even sure if I would be actually, using it to the extent which I use it today, be it Facebook,
Mm,
LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and any of the social networking sites. Then,
right.
like thinking, I was asking her, making fun of her. Oh, you already have reached about 100 or 200 friends. So it's like a big thing. I don't think I'll ever get that. So it looks like now I've added so many people. I don't even have a clue. I think it is
Mm,
basically technology has played so much, and especially during the pandemic,
yes.
it's like crazy networking in terms of you.
Mm,
It also depends, right? The way I position myself, I'm also kind of making myself approachable. If they want any help or any advice or any thing, they can certainly reach out to me. So that way, technology has played a huge role. Seriously, thanks to the corona pandemic situation, which has its pros and cons. For
yes.
me, from a networking standpoint, meeting and connecting with people from different parts of the world has been amazing.
All right, all right. That's good to know. And what would you say to one who wants to hone this networking skill? Is it? I mean, does the person has to like attend more events? And I mean, should one start from there, or what do you have to say to that?
No, that's a great question, and I don't think this kind of a profile or a avatar is not easily possible. For you to hone a certain skill, right? I mean, as you have to be of the thought process that you have to be very, very passionate about it. I think, as I
Right.
told you, right, back in my earlier corporate days or in my call center days and all that. As I told you, my job was only to just to kind of do your job, 9 to 6 job, and get out and not much of interacting. That's where slowly I started interacting, going out, meeting a lot of people, and then I understood the power of it as to
Mm,
you get to meet some really amazing, interesting people. Any walks of life. I mean, as if you ask me, I mean, it's not like I come with a professionally or formally trained, where I've been trained by LinkedIn to kind of call myself as a power network or something like that. But I kind of honed that skill, fine tuned it. I kind of reached a certain point over a period of time, and I started observing and learning it from a lot of people. Like it could
mm,
be watching the Shark Tank series in terms of how
right.
people pitch, and they would have done a lot of research, and of
Yes.
course, there's a lot of inspiration which you get from a lot of people, and could be online and offline, and that is what has gotten me to kind of this stage. So it is not just about the skill. You have to be really, really passionate, go after it, and you have to be like really very creative, and you should know when to put up the networking face of yours, the avatar, or probably when it is not required. So you have to. It's a subtle difference, but you would be the best judge as to when and where and how to use it.
Hmm. Hmm. All right. All right. That's wonderful. Thank you for that. Well, you have worked in the corporate sector and then moved on to the entrepreneurial sector, and you have been in the sector for more than like 12 years now. So, what do you think about startups? How have they fared over the years, especially since the startup boom in 2016-17 up until now?
So I think there's a phenomenal change. Of course, especially given that I'm in Bangalore, it is called as the Silicon Valley of India, and there have been a lot of startups which have emerged and haven't successfully taken off, and a couple of them for whatever XYZ reasons they've had to kind of shut down. So I've been fortunate enough of being associated with a couple of them, be it bootstrapped, very well funded startups, big brands, established brands like TVF, the Viral Fever, one of the biggest branded content platforms and all that. So having been in the ecosystem so deep, and having worked very closely with the leadership team, understood their thought process, mission, vision, how they're going about and all that. So these are all certain very very fundamental principles or DNA which each of these startups or the founders need to have, because if they have that these qualities and as fundamentals, I think they're building actually a solid foundation. Then once you have a solid foundation, I think with a strong foundation, the startup will be able to kind of really accelerate, see some good progress, growth, and kind of take it to the next level. So all I'm trying to say is that startups have gone through. It's been a roller coaster ride, and I've been part of it.
Yes.
So, and that is what I keep advising and kind of mentoring and kind of telling them as to how important it is to have the foundation strong and what all it does. And then I have a detailed discussion and kind of explain them. We go into the details as to how it works. So Bangalore right now, and I'm glad that I'm now part of Startup Grind Bangalore. It is one of the largest communities, as you mentioned. It is the global platform community for innovators, entrepreneurs, startups, and all we do is we help connect, network with people, anybody and everybody of any walks of life, and uh, if you make a platform, I think this kind of a platform was very much needed and it's always been there, which is doing some phenomenal stuff of trying to have fireside chat events. Before pandemic, they used to do a lot of these physical events, networking events, have panel discussions. They used to have these startup parties and a whole bunch of things. But yeah, coming back to the startup ecosystem, it's been there have been a lot of learnings, unlearnings, and whole bunch of things has been actually happened. It's been interesting.
All right. Okay. To add to that, what niche or fields or technology would be on the rise considering the pandemic regarding the startups?
I think for a situation right now, the because of the pandemic, a lot of medtech companies are on the rise. They're trying to kind of come up with solutions, products, devices, and all that.
Mhm.
So I would certainly say there is a couple of verticals which are really hot, and because of again pandemic, a lot of kids or schools are all doing it online. So
Yes.
EdTech is going to be hot. EdTech, MedTech, IoT, and robotics would be on the chart. I'm not trying to say only these, but everything is
Mhm.
actually equally important. Of
Right.
course, manufacturing sector, that is also the MSME is also kind of taken a hit, but it's kind of slowly reviving. Co-working spaces,
Mhm.
the real estate or the co-living or the travel and tourism, of course, it's taken a big hit, and I think for it to kind of revive, it'll take some time. Probably could be more than a year. I'm guessing I could be
Mhm.
wrong. I hope it kind of bounces back as quickly as possible. But given that, yeah, I think it's medtech, edtech, IoT, robotics. These are all some of the hot things at this point in time. And I've seen a trend that some of these startups they are handpicked and also are getting invested and also getting bought out. And again, coming back to Bangalore, India, in Bangalore itself, there are a couple of unicorns. Could be in the e-commerce space and the
Mhm.
mobile app space, which is actually we're seeing a upwards trend.
All right. All right. So, I mean, the market is looking good. It's not, of course, I mean, there are
Yeah,
certain areas where it's reviving, but
yeah.
there's no stop to that. We are still going in a very
Yes,
good
yes, yes,
pace,
yes, yes,
or
yes, yes.
we will certainly go ahead.
We will. Yes, absolutely. You're right. You're right. It is reviving. It's just a matter of time. Some startups have taken a bad hit, and due to which they've had to take some hard decisions of trying to either shut it down, or probably the startup founders have kind of taken up jobs, like a full time 9 to 5 job, or probably they would have pivoted the model and kind of gotten into something else because of the situation. Because the situation is such that it's making them think and kind of making them start from scratch. So.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I want to know what do you look for in a business or a startup before you decide to invest? I mean, if you can mention certain parameters which you would look into.
Okay. So as I mentioned previously, I mean, the foundation has got to be strong. The skill sets, you got to have a strong, understanding between the founders, the core team. The wavelength frequency is very, very important for it to be like in sync for the
Mm-hmm.
leadership team and the leadership team with the team, with their immediate working team. So that because as a leader, you would make sure that the show is running right. For the show to go, you need a lot of supporting hands, and that is your team, right? So it depends on what kind of a skill sets that they come with, or what kind of a background that they come with. Do they actually align to your thoughts in terms of your mission vision? So if you have that, I think if you have a solid team, I think the biggest in the pie chart, about 50% of it, whatever, I can't put a number to it, but I'm just trying to give you an example. A bigger part of the things are kind of taken care of at to start with. So once you have that, and you also kind of got to understand the leadership team, the core team, and your working people, the employees and the team, what kind of a metal or the background they come with. And because you got to prove the metal, right? Like how dedicated, hardworking. If it's only the leadership team who's always ready to kind of work 16 hours, 18 hours
Yeah.
consistently every day, I mean, over a period of time, they'll get burnt out, right? Provided if you have a team who's of the same thought process, and who's kind of ready to go that extra mile, it makes a huge difference, is what I've seen. And very few startups, or probably very few teams, who actually kind of have that kind of a quality or a skill set, is what I've seen. But if you can actually get that, and again, how do you get that? You get motivated by watching, get a lot of inspiration from other startups, successful startups. There are a lot of books and
Right.
articles, blogs, and podcasts. Like yours, which kind of become really very inspiring, and kind of spread
Hopefully.
the good message, spread the good message and positivity. So that kind of will be a good learning for them, is what I would say.
All right. So just to reiterate what you said, it's a strong foundation where everyone should be in sync with respect to the vision and mission. And secondly, is complementing skill sets because
Yep.
one person cannot do all the job. Probably when
Yep.
you're
Yep. You're right.
wanting to have a bigger business.
Yeah.
So it is the complementing skill sets in the team which works. And of course, I think other inspiring businesses, startups, and entrepreneurs where you can learn from them and get that acumen.
True. True.
Right. So moving on. Okay, so there are like many, budding entrepreneurs, or they could be solopreneurs, or people who want to have a business. I asked this because I mean, the current situation that we're in, which is the pandemic, uh, people have lost many jobs, and people are probably re-strategizing as to what do they want to do from henceforth, considering they had like sufficient time amount of time to like rethink on what they're doing. So I would want to know, like, say if there are new entrepreneurs, where do you think would be the platforms, or if you can suggest some platforms where they can pitch their idea to investors? It could be students, or it could be new entrepreneurs, or budding entrepreneurs, or solopreneurs. If you can give us some ideas, some suggestions, that would be great.
Okay, again, I would go back to the same point of Startup Grind. Startup Grind platform is all about that. You become a member,
Right.
and that is a global community. You get to kind of not only just pitch your idea, you also would want to kind of validate it and kind of do a POC, MVP, and these are all the initial steps that is very very important because until and unless you haven't crossed that stage or phase, right, it is very very important. So leveraging the Startup Grind platform, it will make a huge difference. Apart from that, if you're there in the ecosystem, if you know of any advisors or anybody who's been in the ecosystem, who's pretty like a veteran, who comes from a certain industry or vertical, you should basically run your idea by them, pitch it to them. As many people you pitch, okay, they
Right.
might give you a lot of negative feedbacks. They can probably be the critic, and good and bad, of course it's part and parcel of the game. So
Right.
having said that, if you can get a lot of feedback and kind of fine tune it and incorporate all those changes, I think it makes a lot of difference. So having said that, there's no. So right now, I can think of course, Star Grind is one, and of course, there are a bunch of these pitch days, pitch sessions, which actually happens, demo days, and if you either go through incubator and all that, incubator or an accelerator, and of course, Karnataka startup government project, which is called as a Karnataka Startup Elevate program. You can sign up for some of these programs and kind of get to pitch your idea over there, pitch your startup over there, and kind of get grants from these kind of online places.
Okay. When you said startup grind, so students also can be a part of it. Can you explain more on that?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. So, in fact, for students to be a part of it, this is a perfect platform because, again, they are at a very, very uh, early stage of their career. So, everybody would want to kind of become a entrepreneur, and I'm sure somewhere in them they'll have that entrepreneurial bug in them, and they would want to kind of understand, go more deeper. They're not too sure. They're a little apprehensive as to what's right, what's wrong, and all. They would need a little bit of a push or a support, and that a hand holding has to be done. So keeping all those things in mind, I think the platform actually is, as I mentioned, it's pretty open, and we are all about helping and just giving, and like basically helping them connect to the right set of people. Like they'll say, hey, you know what, I have this idea, I'm not too sure, it's an e-commerce and all that. I don't know how to go about, how do I basically build a e-commerce platform. They'll get into all those kind of details. So you basically channelize them and kind of put their ideas, their entire energies focused in the right manner, and put them to the right people who can actually handhold and work with them very closely.
Okay, wonderful. All right, thank you for that. Right. So my next question is very similar. I mean, it's related to the pandemic again. So, I mean, you also mentioned earlier that many businesses are shutting down, and probably some are like re-strategizing the way they operate. And I have seen you, subtly being a social entrepreneur. So, I want to know. I mean, would many businesses opt for being in the social entrepreneurial space, considering the pandemic? Uh, and do you see if that's if that's the way going forward, or is it a need for change that we need to look into as entrepreneurs or solopreneurs? Yes.
Okay, so sure. Yeah, I've just tried to do my bit of trying to help or give back to the society. But would startups actually consider this? I'm sure. I mean, there would be a lot of startups because during the pandemic, as you rightly mentioned, a lot of people out of job, and they're not able to raise funds, and they're not getting business. Forget about raising funds. Raising funds is like the last thing, but they're not able to kind of get business if they have to kind of recover all the money. So they would obviously either seek for help or probably give help, right? Like if there are who have been doing some very good business, and for some startups, it has been what do you say, a very interesting uphill during the pandemic. Like startups who deal with masks, sanitizers, or anything which has got to do with medtech, they have seen some really rocketing business. And a portion of it, they can probably keep it aside. So, and again, I'm not talking about big MNCs who have CSR funds, but these are CSR initiatives. Some of these startups take in terms of how they can actually help and help these young entrepreneurs, or it could be looking at working from home with a lot of flexibility and no cut in salary and things like that. So these are all certain things which have actually played a huge role. In fact, I've been interacting with a bunch of people, and they said yes, luckily my startup hasn't there's no pay cut, or probably they haven't downsized or all, which is a good thing. A portion of it they kind of think, as a part of giving back to the society. What are some of those initiatives which they can actually drive and kind of understand? Like, for example, I note for a fact there is a group. One is a cyclist group, and again, it's not a formal structure which they have, but again, one is a cyclist group, and the other one is it's a, I think it's a space. It's a IoT startup where somebody, put out that a bunch of these government school kids they need, because everybody is doing Zoom classes and they don't have access to laptops and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
they collected funds, and they kind of, managed to kind of buy laptops or tabs for these school kids. And again, the out of the cyclist group, again, there was one of the kids who was a delivery boy, and he has to go to college, and he's not able to kind of afford a laptop or a tab. So again, these guys got together and kind of do that. I mean, yeah, the social entrepreneurship actually makes a huge difference, where you kind of collect the funds and kind of give it out to the right people, the people who are in need. It makes a huge difference, because that is where you're trying to bridge and have these resources, all of that actually allocated to the people who really need it.
Okay. With respect to the instances when you said that there was a girl who needed the laptop, or
Mm.
I think there's one other instance which I think you had done with respect to giving a football to a kid. I mean, could
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
explain
yeah.
that? I mean, I just want to know because I want the listeners to know as to what you're doing.
Sure. Okay. So what actually happened was, there is a ex-colleague and a friend of mine, and he has a maid who's been working in their house for many years, and their younger daughter is in college, and she could not afford a laptop. So
Mm-hmm.
he approached me and he said, "Hey, no, Umesh, this is the situation. Is there anything that could be done? Would you know of any institutes, or would you know of any companies who can actually, or anybody, an individual also, who can actually give her a second-hand laptop or something like that?" So what I thought was, I immediately kind of, as I mentioned again, I've been very active in the social media space, networking, connecting with people. So I kind of put out a message or a post in my close net group circle. Sent out that message, put out a post also, and it kind of reached some people, the right people who kind of got back to me, who were sitting in Delhi and Bombay, and they said, "Hey, you know what?" He jumped right in and he said, "I would like to help this girl." I was like, "Wow!" And he said, "Umesh, my person from my team is going to be getting in touch with you. I have allocated some funds, and she'll be getting a laptop." So a brand new laptop was actually delivered to the doorstep, and we gave it to her, and she was like extremely
Wow.
happy and thrilled out. And these are all small things which, so they don't have access to that kind of network or the connections and the technology and all that. I mean, it's obviously eventually, I hope and I wish that she gets there where she can actually help somebody else. It's a ongoing process.
Right. I mean
That,
that's amazing. I mean, you say it's a very small thing, but it's of course. I mean, for a person, it's like big thing because for the girl it was,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I think we need more people. I mean, getting into social entrepreneurship or
yeah.
in any small way where they have a good network of people. I think
Mm.
this is what counts as humanity. I think that's what it is. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the other
Right.
thing what you asked was about the tender coconut
Mm-hmm.
boy. Again, so
Yes.
the usual workouts in the morning, walk, and I happen to kind of go to have my tender coconut to him, and he told me, "So this is the situation. My son is very passionate. He's like completely crazy about football. He wants to be a footballer and all that." And he told me. So again, for that
Mm-hmm.
also, I just did a little bit of a, like a crowdsourcing kind of a thing, if you can say so. And a lot of
Right.
people who actually showed interest and kind of came forward to kind of help him out. So I managed to collect a small fund for him,
Mm-hmm.
whatever was the X number. He wanted a bunch of things. So took him to Decathlon, bought him football studs, jersey, and a football, and got him
Wow.
also introduced to this coaching institute, which happens to be run by a close friend of mine. He said, "Yes, I saw this. You had put out a post, and I would be more than happy to kind of have him part of our institute and give him training. And for as long as he becomes a big star celebrity, but whatever he needs, I'll certainly help him get
Wow.
there. So you can actually have him enroll." So he got free coaching and all of that.
That's wonderful.
So I don't
That's
know if I
wonderful.
basically, I mean, as my intent is to just kind of help people and kind of, of course, there is one side of the business network, professional network. You want to do
Hmm.
business, there is you have to make money and all that. There's the other side where you have to kind of which I never thought or probably never intended to kind of be doing such things if I needed credit for this or something like that. But I just did it, out of
Yes.
with no expectations and just again passionate. You have to be passionate of trying to say, and couple of people I've seen and they say, yeah, you seem to be kind of going out of your way, trying to help people out and all that. So that's where it is. So I don't feel to kind of talk more about it or
Hmm.
it would come across a little bit like bragging, but I would just want to kind of keep it subtle and just let it be. Just I'm going with the flow. That's about it.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's very lovely, and thanks for doing all this and also inspiring other people to do something like this. I think I am inspired, and I'm sure I will try and pitch in wherever possible if there's something which I could do. Thank you so much. Uh, I just had a
Actually,
question.
yeah.
Yes,
So
sorry. No, go ahead.
no, no. All I wanted to say was anybody can do it. I mean, it's about your thought process. It's about they'll say, "Oh no, I don't
Yes.
have the resources. I don't have the money." It's not like I
Mm-hmm.
just had to kind of basically I had to facilitate this. I facilitated and I just got to know that there are so many people who are interested trying to say, hey, through the social media platform or through
Yes.
your network or the connections and circle that we are in, we got to know and I always wanted to kind of give back and help and all that. So they come. I mean it's not about thinking, but I think it's your action, it's your you taking that first step actually it makes a lot of difference and don't think just do it and things will automatically fall in place is what I feel is what I've observed.
Right. My question was related to that. So when you say that you crowdfunded it or crowdsourced this, so did you use a particular platform, or was it just through social media that you reached out to your network of people and it happened? Because
Yeah.
I want to know, because there are like many crowdsourcing platforms, and people do put out the message, but when we get the link on social media, it you actually first tend to, like, question it. Okay, whether is this authentic or genuine? Should I go, pitch in and do something? So there at times you actually take a step back and, okay, what I no I mean, I don't think so, because none of them in my network is doing it, so I don't know if I should go ahead and do it. So this is one thing which I wanted to ask you, like, how relevant is it? Because see, for me as a person, when I go into Facebook and look into this particular link, I want to help, but then I don't know how genuine it is. But would it actually make a difference if it is someone in your network who knows this person, and and who is talking about it? So how does this happen? I just want to know your views on this and how one can change the perception about this.
So, of course, there are platforms for crowdfunding, like your Indiegogo, Kickstarter,
Mm-hmm.
Keto, and a whole bunch of them.
Yes,
So,
Keto. Yep.
I never used all of them, and I don't think I'm actually kind of eligible to kind of use those platforms because I'm just eligible in the way like it's not like I'm trying to run a campaign for collecting a few lakhs and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they have a different vision, and parameters which has to be met and all that. So mine is just very random. It's very simple.
Right.
All I use is my WhatsApp, my Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and any of the social media
Mm-hmm.
platforms which I'm very active on. So I just put out a post, and that kind of gets the attention of people, and
Right.
people have come forward, and they have kind of tried to get involved. And the other thing, what I've seen is also that they get involved to the extent of trying to reshare my post. So that way, it is kind of that. viral effect has been there. So it has
Mm.
reached multiple other people, and through some random connections, to some nook and corner of the country would have got this, and they said, "Hey, I saw this. I want to help you. I want to get involved." Like,
Right.
wow, great. So that's when I realized that the these networks or the social media platforms, or this WhatsApp, it makes a huge difference.
Yes. So it is the power of social media then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Absolutely. So that's wonderful. Okay. So this gets me to a very personal question. So during this time, I think all of us, have to take care of our well-being.
Yeah.
And I want to know, what is your workout routine like, and what do you indulge in apart from work? I know for sure that you are into cycling, but could you tell more about it, and how does it help you in your everyday work? So, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like my cycling post which I put out on social media has been gotten attention by a lot of people. It looks like it. I think I need to reduce and start posting less. It looks like it. Yeah, cycling is something which I've gotten into. Again, pandemic kind of pushed you out, because before that I used to kind of have some regular workouts of going to play badminton, and somehow you have to keep yourself fit, right? I mean, it's very, very important. What I've realized is, there have been, again, these are all phases, right, in life you'll go through. You won't even feel like getting out of your comfort zone, and you would always want to be a couch potato, watching TV, binge watching TV, Netflix, and all those kind of things. Then I
Mm,
realized, I think there's much more to life. I mean, if you keep yourself fit, mind, physical, all of this, like really very positive, and whatever you believe in, and kind of go in that positive direction, it makes a lot of difference. Why I'm giving this example is, I think the regular workouts, like for example, which I've been doing cycling for the past 6 months, it makes a huge difference. I didn't even know that I had that kind of stamina of trying to cover whatever x number of kilometers in a day, and in a few hours and all that. And once you come back, right, like your body is like completely tired. You had a good workout, and you're completely exhausted. I think your mind is a lot more calmer, because why you do that as cycling or running, whatever you guys want to get into. I think it is a meditation in itself.
mm.
All I'm doing is I'm listening to music and I'm just cycling. That's all. Okay, it's
Yes.
a good workout for your legs and body and all that. But I think, yeah. But again, in the bargain, cycling, I used to be solo cycling. Just take off early in the morning when you get up early, and you have a set routine. Head out there, cycle for a few kilometers, and kind of come back. I ended up kind of networking with like-minded people,
Mm,
like cyclists, and there also a little bit. So that is another group or circle which has kind of happened
right.
through me, or thanks to cycling. Yeah, anything which can actually keep you like your spirits high in the very positive thing, because the market is bleeding. Everybody is going through down side of life, and it has actually put us to test. It's a situation which has kind of put us to test, to think, to rework, to re-strategize, and start from scratch. It's all about your spirits. If you can keep it high and be positive, be very focused, and whatever is kind of keeping you, it's not necessarily just because I'm into cycling, or somebody could be into marathon running,
Right.
and they do it diligently. You have to be
Right.
very diligent. You have to be very committed. Whatever you do, and again, you have to have a fine balance, right? Like as soon as you wake up, the first 2 hours or 3 hours is for workout. Then you have your work, your regular work, and so at home, it's not from work from home, it's work for home. So I ended up,
Okay.
I've been the man, maid, mopping, sweeping, washing vessels, everything. So again, listen to music. For me, listening to music and working has had a very good feeling. So you can see, like, it's like a happy soul out there who's like really slogging and getting some
Right.
work done. So yeah, if whatever gives you that kind of
Mm,
happiness, yeah, you have to be happy. That is the mantra or the thumb rule which you should follow. I think that
yes.
can actually,
Yes.
it will be very evident from your body language, from your face, and if you can do that, spread positivity, spread
Yes.
cheer, joy to a lot of other people.
Wonderful. I mean,
Mm.
glad. I mean that you are keeping yourself engaged with cycling, and your mantra is stay fit, and I think everything else will fall into place.
Yeah.
And of course, spread the joy.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. All right. So we come to the last section. I call
Mm.
it the Preneur Spotlight section.
Mhm.
So I am going to run you through a few questions. It could be on the personal level or the professional level. So
Okay.
you could answer to me in a word or two or a couple of sentences. It's left up to you.
Sure, sure, sure,
Right?
sure.
So
Sure.
let's get started then. Okay. So what is the one thing that motivates you to go about your day?
To go about my day.
Yes. One thing.
There's life is full of surprises. I think every day is a new beginning. Every day you might have surprises, good and bad, but be ready to kind of face it.
All right.
So it's
All
full of
right.
surprises. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Super. Okay. Any person who inspires you. It could be from any field. It could be in the entrepreneurial field or it could be anyone else, but any person who inspires you.
Oh yeah, of course. For my in my journey, personally and professionally, I think there are a lot of people who play a very very integral role. So I don't know if I can just stick to one person, multiple people, including my dad and mom, and people like in the startup ecosystem like Shraddha Sharma, Mr. Ratan Tata, Jeff Bezos, and my own mentor and guru, Mr. Ramesh Kumar. He is. He's from the valley, but he's here in South India, and for he's part of a very big project raising funds.
Mm,
He's somebody whom I look up to, and I've learned a lot of things, and he always kind of mentors me, nurtures me, and kind of keeps giving me a lot of positivity, and there's so much. So that way, these are some people really I look up to because of the sheer passion, commitment, hardworking. As I mentioned, right, like my dad is comes from a small village, and he's gone the
mm,
hard way and kind of built it, and kind of gotten us to kind of give the education and kind of to reach wherever I am and things like that. So all these people play a huge role because there are certain qualities or skill sets which you have to observe and kind of are key takeaways from these people.
mm,
If it has worked and if it is how they have managed to kind of build, could be an empire or could be a business or could be a personality for themselves.
yes.
It's not easy. It's not a joke. So I draw inspirations from all these people. Sorry, I know that
Okay,
was a little
wonderful.
too long, but yeah.
No, 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 please, no. Thank you. Right. So, hypothetically, if you turn out to be the richest person in the world tomorrow,
Yeah.
so what would you like to do? Or would you continue to do what you're already doing?
What would I look? What would I do if I'm the richest person tomorrow?
Yes.
And would I
Or would
continue to
you,
do? Continue
if
to
you're,
do
all,
what?
yeah. So,
Yeah, of
it's
course.
a choice.
Yeah, sure. So first is if I'm the richest person, if I have a lot of money, I would like to invest money in your startup, in your venture, and
Wow.
be a part of the team. I know you didn't expect that, but be a part of your team, work with you as a strategic partner advisor, and see how we can scale this and take it to the next level. And we can all so that we can all make money and touch people's lives. And would I continue to kind of do the same thing? Yes, of course. I think my I've seen a lot of things in life, ups and downs, and been there, done that kind of a thing. Would I continue to kind of be, or will I change? Will it be a very lavish life? No,
Hmm.
I don't think so. I'll just continue to be the same way. I'll still continue small things which will kind of give me joy, cycling, helping, giving back to the society, and all those kind of people. I think yeah,
Right.
that's for the rest of my life.
Beautiful. Beautiful and well said. All right. So, my next question is, what is your idea of minimalism in business and personal life? I know this is some topic which you actually believe in and practice. So, yes.
Yeah, it can also sound a little awkward and gross. Trying to use less water, have bath once in a month or once in a week only when you stay out.
One bucket challenge.
That is one thing. And yeah, now I've reduced the intake of food also. Now I do a brunch, like a heavy brunch kind of a thing. And I skip the meal in the afternoon, lunch, and kind of go directly for a early dinner. So all these kind of minimalism things, and don't spend too much. I was talking to you offline, right? Like I haven't done shopping in like so many years. Minimalistic clothes, spend only how much ever is needed. Whatever is just not needed, just give it away to people who are in need of it, and uh, just keep it very simple, very, very light. As they say, right, in startups, it's an asset light kind of a model. You should actually look at strategizing and implementing it in your own life. Keep it asset light. Everything,
Yes.
your head, from your head to your surroundings to your car or whatever your surroundings, everything minimalistic. I'm not successful. I'm trying to say that is the thought process. Eventually, I'm just kind of getting there, is what I'm saying.
Right. Right. All right. That's wonderful. Okay. What is your definition of success?
Hmm. I think you're asking the question to the wrong person. I'm not a successful person. So, what is definition of success? Have I seen it? Yeah, a bit. I've gotten an exposure to a bit of success. What is success to me is, I think, very. You have to be like really hardworking, diligent, committed, and kind of really be laser focused.
Hmm.
Okay, I think all these skill sets, if you have it as a part of your DNA, it'll kind of you'll get there. It's just a matter of time. And don't
Right.
be too focused or hell bent of trying to say, "Oh, I have to be successful." That's the reason I said, "Have
Yes.
I? Am I successful? I'm not successful." But that's not the only thing, right? But I think there's a lot of in the bargain. There's been a lot of learnings, which I don't think any university or any institution can actually
Right.
teach you. And again, it differs from person to person. There different people, different perspective. What is success to them?
Yes.
I think just helping out people, for me, in a way, I've touched so many people. I think that is, yeah, can I take credit or kind of say that as success? Yeah, it has kind of been a success. That's all. If
Yes.
that
Absolutely.
actually, which I can say. But yeah, I don't know. Did I answer the question? Was that what you were looking for? Or is there a different?
Yes. I mean, I just want to know what do you consider success as, and I think you have rightly said that according to you that if you're reaching out to people and making a difference, you're successful. I think you're already done that, and you are successful.
I think I've helped a lot of people, be it young people who are looking for jobs, who are right at their early careers and all that. They were looking for a job. So I've gotten a lot of people, help them with getting them connected. The the matchmaking actually happened in terms of the JD and the profile, and a lot of people have gotten jobs and they're kind of settled and happy. So they're successful. If they are successful, I consider myself to be in some way or the other successful. That's all.
Yes, I mean that's wonderful, and I think there is some beauty in putting out this the thought that okay, if the person who we've helped is like successful, then yeah, it's a job well done.
So, well done. Yeah.
And I think you've done amazing and commendable work out there. So it's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so that was the last question, but before that,
Mhm.
okay, I want you to give some learnings or tips or any particular insights into for the new pruners or
Mhm.
people who are already on this entrepreneurial journey. What do you like to say to them, or is there anything which an advice, since you're a strategic advisor, so what would you advise the new pruners?
No, I don't know if I would have anything strategically to kind of advise, but I would want to keep it. I would want to keep it simple for all the pronouns. See, I think the world out there is beautiful. It's amazing. There are ups and downs. There are a lot of unpleasant, unexpected surprises. Expect the unexpected. That is also applicable in certain situations. But I think you should not overthink. You should not get overworked up.
Hmm.
Just believe in your heart. Go with the passion and. Just be focused, be really very laser focused, and uh, always believing in helping, kind of giving back to the society. All these actually are, as good karma, kind of certainly help you in the long run, in some way or the other. But at the same time, having said that, you should also be very focused about your career, because you have to kind of you should be like a go-getter, self-sustainable in terms of where you kind of have a regular uh, stream of income. You
Hmm.
should have figured out all of that. So then, if you have, I think you have all the how many of pillars you have to build your empire, right? All of those are pretty strong and solid. If you have all those in place, I think you should not worry about, because basically at the end of the day, you should have a peaceful sleep. You should have a peaceful life ahead. If you have all these things in mind, I think, as I mentioned, right, positivity, spreading happiness, positivity, and not overthinking and worrying. Oh shit, I don't have this. I should have probably gotten there. I should have made a lot of money. I should have gone to New York and all that. So, yeah, without me expecting or probably even thinking of it, or having lived in the US and worked for some of the finest startups and having met some amazing people, is which I never thought of. But I think, yeah, you just go out there, keep getting at it, and it'll actually happen. Go with a clean, open heart, be very positive. Whatever has to come to you, it's all about, I believe in destiny. And
Mhm.
if you are destined that it has to come to you, it'll actually happen. It'll happen. But at the same time, work hard, be at it, keep going after it. Persistent, patience, perseverance, all these things will certainly pay off.
Yes, absolutely. And wonderful. I know you mentioned the three P's: persistence, perseverance, and patience.
Patience.
And be laser focused to where you want to get to, and don't worry too much about the results.
Yeah.
I think if it has to come, it will come. So I think you just have to do whatever needs to be done. So, rightly said. Thank you for that. How can one reach out to you?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me. I'm pretty much accessible,
Hmm.
Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Umeysh
Okay.
Ramalingachar. Yeah, it used to be spelt as Umesh, but now I've added a Y. Everybody
Yes.
asks me why the Y, because of that Y.
Amazing.
Yeah, so you can reach out to me. Most welcome to kind of have you connect and network with you people. But
Hmm.
yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Umeysh Ramalingachar. You can look me up. And I will share my email address with Shweta. You can probably put it out and kind of just, if anybody wants to reach out, more than happy to kind of have them reach out to me.
Yes, thank you for that. And I really want to know why the why.
Why the why? Okay, interesting question. So I thought, let me take a dip into the numerology side of things, so that it'll kind of help me make
Right.
more successful and make money. But I ended up only
Okay.
losing money and not getting. Only the why ended up coming in my name. So why the why still remains a big mystery and an exclamation mark and question mark. One thing, why the why? It's the unique positioning. It's very easy. I don't think anybody's got that kind of with a Y in their name. Umeysh. Yeah. So that way, it's uniquely. I get to kind of
Yes.
position myself, or probably easy to search, is what I would say.
So why the why still remains a mystery, but I think yes. I mean, you rightly said that it's very unique because when I searched you on Instagram, I think it was like easy to search because it was just I think you because Umey because there were a
Yeah.
lot of Umes and yeah, so on and so forth. But yes, I mean, I will be sure to share the links in my episode description
Sure.
so that the listeners out there can reach out to you if they want. And again, thank you so much, Umesh, for sharing quite a lot of things. And it has been, I mean, there's so much to learn and be, and also, implement in what we do. A
Mhm.
lot of aspects which you've spoke about. I know I just probably scratched the surface with the things there's a lot more to learn and to get to know from you, and probably we should have another episode probably somewhere down the line for sure again.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
uh, and thank you so much for giving your time, and it's been an honor and pleasure to have you on my show. And yes, thank you very much.
I would love to say thank you so much, Shweta, that you kind of I think I know you for a couple of years right now, and you kind of gotten to a stage where you becoming the entrepreneur which is already there in you. The profile, I think you kind of put it to give it a life and kind of made it actually happen. And thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure sharing my story, and hope it would be of some help, or if there's any buddy whom I can actually help and probably touch people's lives, I'll be more than happy or glad to kind of do that. So thank you once again for having me on your show, and I wish you all the very best. And this is great. I think you're doing a fabulous job, and I wish you all the very best and good luck with your venture. And yeah, in any which ways, how I can be of any help, I'd be more than happy to kind of help you. It's about it.
Yes, thank you so much for those kind words. Thank you so much. And